Board of Education. Today is Wednesday, February 17th. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Mr. Aho, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Felber?
Here.
Mr. Solera?
Here.
Mr. Curtis?
Here.
Mrs. Davis?
Here.
Mrs. Turl Waldron?
Here.
All right, we are all here. We're about to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but a quick housekeeping note, fire regulations do not permit us to have anybody standing in the aisle, so if you can either find a seat, we apologize. We have a pretty packed house tonight, but Fire Marshal comes by, he's not going to let anybody standing in the aisles. So when we're done sitting down from the pledge, hopefully I won't see anybody in the aisles and get yelled at by the Fire Marshal. So if you could all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for the housekeeping. I appreciate it. Good evening and welcome to the students, staff, and families from Wilcox Primary, George G. Dodge, and Twinsburg High Schools. Tonight we have several updates from committees, and I encourage you to take note of many of these new discussions that you'll hear tonight. We also hear tonight from Treasurer Martin Aho on our school district's recent audit report. Additionally, we have a resolution before the board to initiate the grant process for Safe Routes to Schools program. We heard from Mr. Welker at our last board meeting about this collaborative effort between the district and municipal partners of the City of Twinsburg, Twinsburg Township, and the Village of Reminderville. This process will allow our district to engage in discussion and research with the Ohio Department of Transportation regarding the encouragement of students walking and riding to school and the safety improvements that would be recommended by this partnership. And speaking of safety and making the right choices, thank you to the Twinsburg Police Department and the Summit County Sheriff for their recent presentation to both our students and parents in separate same-day presentations. The information undoubtedly was impactful. Students attended an assembly and about 100 parents and administrators participated in an evening discussion. While scary in topic, the teaching moments were well received by those in attendance. The event was recorded and will be posted on the district website within a few weeks. Keeping up with all the happenings in our district, I know, can be daunting. So if you're a Twitter person or superintendent, and many of our schools are posting frequently, you can also sign up for our district e-communication newsletter. The link can be found at the district homepage. Now, as I see a room full of patient students and parents, I'm going to bring my short report to a close and turn the meeting over to you, Superintendent Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Felber. Good evening, Board of Education. Good evening, families. It's always so great to see everyone here this evening. We have a lot of students and a lot of building highlights to celebrate tonight, but I do have a number of things I want to share with you before the meeting proceeds further. First of all, Board of Education, last week, as you know, was Start with Hello Week, and that was part of our Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports initiatives, and that initiative was suggested by the Sandy Hook Promise. Parents, you might recall 2 or 3 years ago now, there was the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School where a number of parents lost their little ones to a very tragic and violent situation. And many of the parents who lost their children during that tragedy have now banded together and are working towards something called the Sandy Hook Promise. And in December, a number of our middle school and high school students had the opportunity to travel to Orange High School to hear directly from these parents about what they can do as students who are teenagers here in our school district to help encourage each other to see something, then you should say something. And so last week's Start with Hello Week was an offshoot of that activity, and the week encouraged our Tigers to make friends and to discourage acts of bullying. So I was really proud of all of our students. You know, last week being the week that we celebrated with Valentine's Day at the end of the week, you would have thought, well, what was going on at Twinsburg High School and the rest of our buildings, because the kids were all in green. Well, they were in green because that is the color of the Sandy Hook Promise. So I just wanted to thank all of the students who participated last week in so many very wonderful initiatives and really reaching across the aisle, making good friends, and I hope those friendships last for a very long time. I want to thank our staff for encouraging participation with all of our PBIS initiatives. It really is great to be a part of a school district that makes sure that our students understand the importance of being a friend and making a friend, and to make sure that Board of Education, as you know, the winter sports season is winding down, and I just wanted to mention a little bit about 3 swimmers last weekend that broke Twinsburg High School swim records. Sam Giordino, Matt Olson, and Colin Martin each broke high school swim records, and we're absolutely delighted with the 3 swimmers. We've had great participation in all of our winter sports seasons, and we have several of our teams, including our cheerleaders, moving on to postseason play and tournaments. So we wish all of our athletes the very best of luck. And as the winter sports season is winding down, our show choir season is just starting to percolate up, as is our band and our orchestra student participation in the OMEA contests. Last weekend was huge for all of our arts programs. In fact, our RBC singers and the Mood Swingers each won first runner-up at the DeKalb Show Choir competition in DeKalb, Indiana. And RBC singer Evan Harnick won the best soloist in the DeKalb competition. Also, our Mood Swingers, which is an all-female show choir at Twinsburg High School, won best vocals, and our Great Expectations show choir won best vocals, best choreography, and also grand champion of the same show choir competition. So our show choirs are off to a tremendous start with the first competition of the season last weekend. Also, not to be outdone, 45 band students participated in the OMEA contest last Saturday, and 27 of those students earned a superior rating, 15 earned excellent, and 3 earned good. And members of our Twinsburg High School Orchestra participated in another OMEA contest last Saturday, and 16 were rated superior and 7 were rated excellent. So we have some fantastic athletes, we have fantastic orchestra students, band students. Our show choirs are doing a fantastic job. So bravo to all of our students who participated in all of these wonderful groups. And thanks to our advisors and coaches and directors for making things happen every single day here in our school district. Parents, if you are a parent of a student in the class of 2029, why doesn't that sound strange? Class of 2029, I graduated in high school in 1980, so do the math, that's a long time ago. This is the kids that are entering our kindergarten in the fall or in August. Parents, there's going to be a parent informational meeting on February 25th at 6 p.m. at Wilcox Primary School. So if you have a child who will be turning 5 years of age by August 1st of this year, please plan on attending the kindergarten kickoff parent meeting. Again, that's February 25th at Wilcox Primary School at 6 o'clock p.m. Finally, Mr. Felber, I've prepared well, it's kind of long, but it's my comments about the situation that has occurred over at our police department. I wanted to say a few things about what we do as a school district to address making sure our students are safe on social media and making sure that they're safe using the internet. So I apologize, it's rather long and lengthy, and I have a little voice tonight. I have a rather bad cold, so we're going to do the best that we can to not have a gravelly voice, but I do want the community to know what the school district is doing. Our school district has a policy regarding internet use. This policy aligns with the Children's Internet Protection Act, also called SIPA, which was enacted by Congress in 2000 to address concerns about children's access to obscene or harmful content over the internet. SIPA imposes certain requirements on schools or libraries. In early 2001, the FCC issued rules implementing SIPA and provided updates to those rules in 2011. Schools and libraries subject to SIPA must have an internet safety plan, an internet safety policy that includes technology protection measures. The protection measures must block or filter access to pictures that are obscene, child pornography, and harmful to minors for computers that are accessed by minors. Schools subject to SIPA have 2 additional certification requirements. Their internet safety policies must include monitoring the online activities of minors, and they must provide for educating minors about appropriate online behavior, including interacting with other individuals on social networking websites and in chat rooms, and cyberbullying awareness and response. Schools and libraries subject to SIPA are required to adopt and implement an internet safety policy which addresses the following: access by minors to inappropriate matter on the internet, the safety and security of minors when using electronic mail, chat rooms, and other forms of direct electronic communications, unauthorized access, including so-called hacking and other unlawful activities by minors online, unauthorized disclosure, use, and dissemination of personal information regarding minors, and measures restricting minors' access to materials harmful to them. Parents, you might remember that our teachers and school counselors review this information as outlined above through our Children's Internet Protection Act procedures. Furthermore, classroom teachers, media specialists, guidance counselors, and administrators work with our children and teens to assist them in using technology and the Internet in a positive and productive manner. As technology becomes more prevalent in our classrooms, our teachers and staff increase their efforts to encourage our students to make good choices while also addressing the proper use of technology and the Internet. I bring this to your attention this evening just as a reminder about the measures the school district takes to ensure our students make appropriate choices and behave in an appropriate manner while using social media or the Internet in general. And as Mr. Felber indicated, last week we had a fantastic presentation by not only Summit County Sheriff Steve Barry, but also Police Chief Chris Noga from our police department, Lieutenant Scarl from our police department, and Officer Ron Fusella, our school resource officer. And as Mr. Felber indicated, that presentation was videotaped, and it will be found on our district website on the homepage, hopefully by the end of the week. So if you're interested in hearing right from what the police officers and the sheriff said about making sure our kids are safe, I do invite you to take a look at that presentation. And on behalf of our school district and I'm sure our Board of Education, we thank our local law enforcement agencies. They take great care of our school district. They're tremendous partners with the Twinsburg City School District, and we thank them for their ongoing support of our students and our staff every day of our school year. So enough about that matter. We want to celebrate kids this evening, and we have so many students to celebrate. So let's now turn our attention to our wonderful Tigers from Wilcox Primary School, and I think I saw Mr. Asti and Miss Villa here tonight. So please come forward, and we have some great Tigers to celebrate. Welcome this evening.
Check, check.
Thank you, Mrs. Powers. Good evening, everyone. At Wilcox, we like to say that Wilcox rocks, and so tonight we have some students that we'd like to recognize for the reasons that they make Wilcox rock. Mr. Assey is going to announce you boys and girls, and when you come on up, we're going to do some handshaking, and then I'm going to help you line up here in the front so we can take some pictures. I'll turn it over to Mr. Assey.
Thank you, Ms. Villa, Ms. Powers, Board of Education. Got some great students and teachers to recognize. So students, when we call your name, we'll also announce the teacher who recommended you to receive this award, and if that teacher could come up with the students, that would be great. Our first one, first grader, Jason Chernick from Mrs. Kane's class. Jason is receiving the Wilcox Rocks Because of Me award because he is an outstanding student both academically and socially. He always tries his best at school and is not afraid to ask clarifying questions. Jason always makes good choices and tells the truth. Jason says about Mrs. Kane that she's a great teacher because she teaches her students all kinds of things. She uses lots of prizes and guarantees that she wants her students to be ready for second grade. She helped Jason with a fraction game one time when he thought there were 2 over 3 paper clips instead of 2 1/2 paper clips. Mrs. Kane rocks. Our next student is Ellie Greenwald in Miss Lipnis's class. Miss Lipnis says that Ellie is a wonderful little lady. She works hard every day completing her assignments. Ellie is a helper, too. She is willing to help with any job that there is. She is a great role model for the other children in her class, and she makes Wilcox rock. And Ellie says that Miss Lipnis is a beautiful teacher. She makes her students learn great things like math and how to measure stuff. Miss Lipnis has helped Ellie with her morning work, and now she knows how to write complete sentences. Our next first grader is Abby McPherson in Mrs. Fink's class. Abby rocks because she is a sincerely caring student. She is always willing to help other students when they need help, hug them when they're sad, and laugh with them when they're happy. She is a great friend and overall wonderful citizen. She is a true example of responsible, respectful, and caring. And Abby says about Mrs. Fink that she makes learning fun for Abby by saying funny things. She makes her learn a lot of math and reading, and she makes Wilcox rock. Our next student is a kindergartner, Gabriella Carasello, in Mrs. Sutton's class. Mrs. Sutton was so proud that Gabriella and how kind and caring she is. She's always willing to help out a friend, classmate, or teacher, and acts with kindness and respect. She is a very responsible student, and Wilcox is so lucky to have such a wonderful role model as Gabriella. And she says that Mrs. Sutton is such a great teacher. She helps Gabriella feel better the first day of school and by having her write a letter to her parents when she missed them. She also said that she was able to write a card for her sister when she had a cast on. Mrs. Sutton makes Wilcox rock. Our next student is Jack Maloney, also in Mrs. Sutton's class. Doing such a fantastic job in class, he rocks. He is always so helpful and polite to all his classmates and teachers. He goes above and beyond in making sure he follows our school principles. Jack is a leader inside our classroom and a wonderful role model for other students. She loves having him in class and makes Jack he's very proud of his teacher. And Jack says about Mrs. Sutton that she's a great teacher. She's always nice. She's really kind and smiles. Mrs. Sutton rocks. Next, we have Vincent Mizuko in Mrs. Washington's class. Mrs. Washington was unable to be with us this evening, but she said that Vincent is an enthusiastic learner. He comes to school always with a smile on his face and is excited about learning. When working with his peers, Vincent is always displaying the Wilcox attributes of being responsible, caring, respectful, and safe. And he said that Mrs. Washington is always nice. She helps him read books, and when he has trouble sounding out words, she helps him. His favorite part of the day is spending time with his great friends in his class. Our next student is Kellen Pickens in Mrs. Tershek's class. Mrs. Tershek says that Kellen is a student who exemplifies hard work. He has made so much progress this year. Kellen always tries to do his best with whatever we're doing in class. He is patient and kind with others, and when he sees someone who needs help, he helps them out. I'm very proud of all his accomplishments. She is proud to be his teacher. And Kellen said that Mrs. Tershek rocks. She's always making Kellen smile. She helps him with his math and especially his number line. Mrs. Tershek is a great teacher. And at last but not least, we have Dominic Smith in Mrs. Jaskowitz's class. She says that Dominic rocks because he is a model student. He always follows rules and directions. He is very kind and respectful, works very hard this year on his academic skills. Dominic has shown tremendous growth in all areas. Mrs. J is very proud of Dominic. She says, "You are a rock star." And Dominic said that Mrs. J makes learning fun by having her students sing, dance, and say cool rhymes to help them remember things. She helped Dominic with his math, and now he can count to 100. Mrs. J is special and makes Wilcox rock. If I could have all our students and teachers hold up their little certificates in front of them to display them for mom and dad. Just stand up nice and tall and smile for everyone. I think those are all the flashes. Thank you, students and teachers, for being here this evening. Congratulations. Parents and teachers, if you could stick around for the remaining schools presentations, that would be great. Thank you.
Lots of little tigers here tonight. We're very, very proud of our Wilcox Tigers, and parents, thank you for all of your support. You know, it all starts at Wilcox, and without your support, you know, the school district wouldn't be as high achieving as we are. So thank you for your dedication to your children and to our school district. We do appreciate you being here this evening. Now I'd like to ask Mr. Holland, the principal at George G. Dodge Intermediate School, and Ms. Huggins, the assistant principal, please come forward for some presentations about some awesome Dodge students.
Good evening, everyone. As we continue to try to highlight students at Dodge and we continue to build their leadership opportunities, and we believe very strongly, as I say every month, that leadership starts very early in life. And so we try to cherish that and promote it. And so one of the organizations that we wanted to highlight today is our student government, our student council, and our student council advisor is Mrs. Cheryl Linden.
Hi, good evening. I'm Cheryl Linden. I'm also the school counselor as well as the student council advisor, and we've had a fantastic year with student council and done such amazing things. And I brought two of our student council officers who are tremendous role models for our students and really great leadership skills that we're going to be sending over to RBC next year. But I'm going to have them give you a little snapshot of some of the things that we've done currently this year. So Gabby Benizio and Emily Pattersack.
Good evening. My name is Gabby Benizio, and I am here with my fellow student council representatives to share some of the exciting things we have accomplished at our school so far this year. The students at George G. Dodge Intermediate have been reaching out to help those in need and spreading kindness to brighten others' day. The students of George G. Dodge Intermediate School collected over 2,000 canned goods to support our community hunger in Twinsburg, Ohio. A Pennies for Patients program is currently underway to support the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. We are hoping to raise more than $1,000.
My name is Emily Pattersack. This week we celebrate random acts of kindness. George G. Dodge Intermediate has gone over the top to spread happiness. The students wrote letters of to appreciate all staff, member, cafeteria aides, bus driver, and instructional assistants. The teachers were surprised with the quilt of appreciation, with genuine and supportive words of kindness hung in the school. And finally, in an effort to pay it forward, each homeroom was assigned another classroom to show their kindness to. Students put words of encouragement on lockers, decorated classrooms, gave candy, wrote poems, and did pair reading and many more acts of kindness.
Finally, last week we concluded our week with Start With Hello, which is connected to the Sandy Hook Project. I know it's also something that was done in the other buildings in the district. We mixed it up at lunch, and it was a tremendous success. The students were really engaged in conversation. There were smiles and laughter, and students who might not always find somebody to sit with at lunch always had somebody to sit with, and the conversation was continuing throughout the day, and the students were really excited and actually have requested to do it again. So I think it's something that we're going to continue, and it really was breaking down the barriers of isolation and opened up the doors for new friendships and new connections.
So at this time, we want to honor some students from each grade level, but each grade level is working on a different task. Some are working on respect, citizenship, things like that of that nature. So we're going to bring up a student to talk a little bit about what their focus was as we honor those students from each grade level. Let's start with 4th grade.
The character word for 4th grade students for the month of January was respect. Respect means that we follow the golden rule. Be tolerant of differences. Use good manners, not bad language. Be considerate of the feelings of others. Don't threaten, hit, or hurt anyone. Deal peacefully with anger, insults, and disagreements. 4th grade students practice showing respect by making acrostic poems to share with our Lion Cub community. Mrs. Huggins will introduce the students of the month for 4th grade.
Gabby, I'm proud of you. Our students of the month is number 1, Bryson Curry. Jack Dieterich. And Caitlin Felberg.
The character word for 5th grade students for the month of January was caring. Caring means being kind, compassionate, and showing you care. It means expressing gratitude, forgiving others, and helping people in need. Caring means being charitable and altruistic. 5th grade students showed we cared by surprising our classmates with positive notes and candy treat. Mrs. Mariola will introduce the students of the month for 5th grade.
Good evening. All right, our 5th grade students of the month are Lauren Glessman, Joshua Guy, and Riley Lash.
The character word for 6th grade students was for the month of January was citizenship. Being a good citizen means you do your share to make your school and community better. You cooperate and get involved in community affairs. You stay informed. Vote, you are a good neighbor. You obey laws and rules. You respect authority. You protect the environment, and you volunteer. 6th grade students practice being good citizens by tutoring other 6th grade students, keeping our community clean, and demonstrating being a good neighbor by guiding our senior citizen visitors around our building. Mr. Holland will introduce the students of the month for 6th grade.
Thank you. Our students of the month for citizenship are Angela Benziger, Jenna Pollock, and Brody Zach. Can we give all of our students of the month, as well as our student leaders, a round of applause? So let's give our families an opportunity to take a picture. If you want to hold your awards up nice and... You guys can stay right in, your student leaders. Stay in. Nice job, students. We just want to also take a moment to recognize some staff members. We know that our leaders, our student leaders, are created by the work that our staff does. And the first honoree is Ms. Chris Vilcek. Mrs. Vilcek was nominated by Rosie Bushik, a staff member, and she writes, she's the teacher with great enthusiasm, care, and compassion for each and every student. She pushes to answer questions out loud and take risks at learning. I enjoy working with her, and her quote was, "All we ask is that you try." That's the quote that she said that you have of all your students. So congratulations and thank you. Our second nominee actually keeps our building shining. We want to call Mr. Rasheko, or as he prefers to be called, Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike was nominated by one of our teachers, Carla Haas, and she wrote, "He's an exemplary member of our staff. He's willing to go beyond expectations." But I asked to read this one as well because I hear from our community in the evening all the outstanding things that he does, whether it's going the extra mile for, boys basketball, boys and girls basketball, or an evening event, or just making sure that our building is presentable and look well maintained for all of the families and guests that come into it. So we really appreciate all the extra work that you do. Thank you very much.
And I promised Mr. Holland I would keep it brief, folks. So help me out. Our next employee of the month is Mr. Ryan Bandera. Now, I have to say this. Mr. Bandera was nominated by Mrs. Widener, Mrs. Butler, and Ms. McHugh. And I should read from the script, but one of the things that I do know is that Mr. Bandera goes above and beyond anything that he does, and we're so proud of him this school year. He had 2 staff members and his team ill for long, extended periods of time, and he really held down the fort, made sure learning kept going with our students. He has been involved in the building with many activities, and one of the things, I know I keep bragging about it, was we had a professional day a couple of weeks ago, and I was just impressed with how Mr. Bandera prepared and gave such great information to our staff members. That's just the type of thing that he does. So glad to have you part of the team. Mrs. Brindley, who was unable to make it tonight, she had a good excuse. Her daughter had a program. But Mrs. Brindley, if you know her or have had children in her classroom, is known for her enthusiasm and love for children. And it permeates the building, it permeates the classroom. And she was nominated by Mrs. Raska, which that's a big nomination because Mrs. Raska is no bad stuff herself. She's excellent. And for her to recognize Mrs. Brindley, to me, was a great compliment. We're very proud of her and her smiling face and the love that she has for our children and what she does each and every day at Dodge. And last but certainly not least, nominated by Mrs. Kotzman and Mr. Savage, is Linda Garner. Now, Mrs. Garner is our tech person at the school. Pretty much she has a handle on everything, keeps everything going with our computers and helping staff members have what they need. And the staff members nominated her because they know that in a pinch, when they need anything, Mrs. Garner will drop what she's doing to get them what they need so that they can give our students what they need. So we're very happy for her work as well.
So in conclusion, I do want us to take a moment to recognize all of the Dodge staff that is here in the back of the room. Please wave your hands. It is truly a team effort as we make sure that your students strive at Dodge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, since we do have such a full house, thank you to Wilcox and Dodge. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss those parents and students so we can make room for the high school parents and students as well. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening. think we need Mrs. Powers, I think we need an indoor and an outdoor. If we can get word to our high school students to come on in, maybe. Okay, I think. Are they still coming?
We're coming.
Here they come.
Welcome to the high school. Mrs. Tringo, you're here for some great announcements, and Mr. Popovich is here as well. So welcome and come on forward.
Good evening. We have quite a few students to feature tonight, so I'm going to start right off the bat with our Students of the Month, our PBIS Students of the Month. Now, they don't know who nominated them, so I'm just going to call them up individually. I'll say a little paragraph about them, and then at the end I'll divulge which teacher nominated them. I'd like to introduce first Jack Swanson. There's Jack. Stay up here. Jack is a 10th grader at the high school. Jack is a great leader in class who exemplifies what it means to be Tiger Strong. He is always respectful to his teachers and to all of his classmates, and is a great team player who sets great examples for his peers in his group activities. Jack recently invited 2 students who didn't have a group to work with him in his group. When one of them had completed something incorrectly, I heard Jack say, "That's all right, we'll help you." This shows this great character and leadership in Jack and why he's deserving of the Student of the Month recognition. He's a very hard worker and always participates actively in class. So that's Jack. And Jack, I'm going to have you stay up here because someone else will come up, and then we have actually 3 from the same teacher, so I'll divulge that together. Okay. Well, don't say anything, Jack. All right. Nicholas Williams. Nicholas is an 11th grader at the high school. Come on up, Nicholas. Nick is a very hardworking student who sets a great example for his classmates with an outstanding work ethic and respect for others. He routinely demonstrates the Tiger Strong qualities of being goal-oriented, respectful, and a team player. He works extremely hard to achieve his goals, and if things don't work out the way he's planned, he perseveres and keeps trying his best, always maintaining a positive attitude. He volunteers in class to his classmates and also helps them, works well with others. He is very organized and motivated and is a wonderful student to have in class and is very deserving of this Student of the Month recognition. Congratulations, Nick. And last from the same teacher, Trinity Denholm. Trinity is no stranger to the stage here. 10th grader. Trinity is an outstanding student, scholar. Sorry. Congratulations. I'll keep reading. She is a person who routinely demonstrates exemplary work ethic, leadership, and character. She embodies the Tiger Strong qualities of being goal-oriented, noble, organized, and a team player. She's a leader in class, always engaged in classroom activities, actively participating, asks great and thought-provoking questions. She has great intrinsic motivation, works incredibly hard to achieve her goals, and always does her best. This involves always going above and beyond to ensure that she's preparing herself for all of her assessments. She's also been instrumental in reorganizing our PAW Club, People for Animal Welfare, and has shown great leadership and dedication as its president. So I'd like to congratulate the 3 Students of the Month from Miss Nancy Drain. So she has nominated. Okay. Jack, who'd you bring here tonight?
My mom. She's right there. Pretty lady with the glasses.
Nicholas, who?
My mom and my brother, the beautiful lady right there, and the handsome kid.
There you go. Great brother you are.
brought my mom, my dad, and my sister, and my boyfriend, and his mom and brother.
Wow. Maybe she'll get a dinner out of this with that big group. Woo! All right, congratulations. Stay here because I'm going to have some others come up too. All right, we're still in December, so I'll try to make this. I know Mrs. Powers is going to hurry up. Okay, next up, Olivia DiPiori. Olivia, come on up. Hello, Liv. Congratulations. Olivia is my nomination for December as she has tremendous strides academically. She's made tremendous strides academically, as well as relating to her transitional goals. Please let me recognize her for exploring career and community studies at Kent State, and she is obtaining community employment as well. She's involved in community events and is eager to help raise funds for local charities. In particular, Olivia's Leapers, her team that will raise funds this weekend in a snow softball tournament on February 20th. Congratulations, Liv, and good luck with your tournament. Excuse me. Okay, Liv, who's here to...
My mom and daddy.
Great. Where are they? There they are. There's Mom. There's Dad. Congratulations, Liv. Brendan Schilling. Come on up, Brendan. I didn't see Brendan. Okay. Brendan was nominated by Ms. Chernick. We'll give Brendan his certificate. And Liv, you were nominated by Mr. Socrates. Okay. And for our last of the December students of the month, I'd like to recognize Kai Vogler. Kai, come on up. Kai is a senior at the high school. Congratulations. You don't know who now. Okay. Okay. There is not one single event that I would reference for Kai, but just an overall culmination of the type of person that I've seen since the start of this school year. Kai is more concerned with others than himself. He's one of the most genuine and mature students that I've ever worked with. He's very talented yet humble. He gets along with everyone, and he seems truly happy and thankful for what he has. I look at Kai and hope that in 10 years, my 8-year-old will be just like him. Kai is applying for a NASA internship, and when I read his brag sheet, I was just so impressed. Kai makes teaching easy every day. That's from Miss McPherson. So congratulations, Kai. All right. Okay, Kai, who'd you bring?
I brought my mom and my dad.
I make the moms wave. Yeah. Congratulations. These are our December students of the month. Thank you. You can have a seat now. We're going to... All right. You ready, Mr. Popovich?
Please bear with me as I've been battling an upper respiratory issue here. That's the joy of having 2 and 1-year-old at home. I still have a radio voice. All right, that's good. So the next person on, no. All right, here we go. Trying to be corny. We're going to move into January. Our first student of the month, Amina Abdul-Bar. Come on up, Amina. Amina is a student who has shown great dedication in the classroom. Her hard work has been paying off all year. The teacher said, I am very impressed with the change in Amina throughout the school year so far in terms of maturity, effort to improve, and she is a great leader in our class and a very respectful student to all. And Amina was nominated by Mrs. Kurt. What did you bring tonight?
I brought my grandma, my aunt, and my cousin.
And our next student, excuse me, I know our next student is not in attendance, but that is junior Gabby Gannon. Gabby was nominated by Mrs. Humble, so we will recognize Gabby when we see her next. Thank you. Okay, next we have junior Peter Lindo. is an incredibly positive person and a very dedicated student. He walks into class with a smile every day, and his lighthearted perspectives on challenging assignments keep his peers engaged and interested. He is actually very humble and does not seek attention, but his classmates clearly respect his creative talent and academic ability. Peter takes the time to explain difficult reading passages to struggling classmates. He thoughtfully listens to opinions that his peers contribute in discussion. The entire classroom community is a more positive place because of his presence. And Peter was nominated by Mrs. Chernick. Who'd you bring tonight, Peter?
My mom and dad.
Next, we have Kathleen Volkers. Kathleen approaches every task in our drama class with complete dedication. Her presence regularly inspires other students to work a little harder than usual. She pays such careful attention to classmates as she critiques their performances, and her approval means a lot to them. I have seen Kathleen lend an ear or shoulder to other students on many occasions. I have also seen her work to learn the lines and characteristics of roles that were not her own, simply to better support struggling classmates. She is wonderful at recognizing when others are discouraged or frustrated, and she is willing to take the time to help in whatever way she can. And Kathleen was also nominated by Mrs. Chernick. What'd you bring tonight, Kathleen?
I brought my host mom.
Next, we have Nathan Molino. Okay, Nathan is a 10th grader, and he's a very smart student and excels in honors chemistry. But what makes Nathan stick out in my mind is how he is always willing to help students in the class who are struggling with a concept. He has been helping a student who missed 2 days of class catch up and prepare for a test that we are having. Nathan is also willing to share ideas and speak out in front of the class. Overall, his helpful nature has helped several students succeed in this very difficult course. And Nathan was nominated by his honors chemistry teacher, Mrs. Foskett. Who'd you bring tonight, Nathan?
I bring my mom right here in the front row.
I don't think our last student, Chris Jones, is here this evening. He probably has a wrestling commitment, but Chris Jones also nominated as a 10th grader by Mrs. Grummett, and that will actually be January Students of the Month. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to feature some of our visual arts students who have won some great awards recently, and I'd like to showcase their teachers as well. If I can have Mrs. Masenko come on up, Sharon Masenko, and Ms. Kozak. Okay. And before we start with the art students, there is an expressions contest, and Ms. Masenko may speak of the expressions contest a little bit. Did you want to say a little bit now, or do you want me to show the book? Okay. Can I do the research students? All right. One thing that the visual arts students are connected to is the students that do research for the Cleveland Clinic over a summer internship. And basically they're selected through the Cleveland Clinic Foundation, and they have to go through a pretty rigorous interview process and then spend the summer interning at the clinic. We have 2 with us in the audience and 2 that were selected from Twinsburg High School. I'd like to bring up Caitlin Kretz. Caitlin, come on up. And Chris Nemai. Chris, come on up. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay, yeah. All right, they are actually, Caitlin's actually published in the Expressions book, and Ms. Masenko will talk a little bit about how the artists get in the book, but this year we have a research student that's in the book. So, Caitlin, talk a little bit about your research project that you did.
I didn't know I was in the book.
Okay, so my mentor was Maruha, and she worked in the cancer center at Hillcrest Hospital where cancer patients come in to get chemotherapy, and she is a nurse, and so I was researching things that had to go along with nursing. And so what she chose me to research was education with cancer patients. So I made 26 educational folders and included a survey, and I handed them out to patients as they received chemotherapy, and then they read through the folder and all of the pamphlets that were included, and they filled out the survey, and I got to see how helpful they were.
Great. Thank you, Caitlin. And yes. And how Expressions works is that an area high school student then may select that research for their artwork, and Caitlin's was selected, and the artwork related to her cancer research is here featured in the book right next to her picture. So this is her research that goes with the art. Now, Chris, although not in the book, Chris had an awesome summer as well. And if you could tell our audience a little bit about your research.
Okay, so I was involved in the radiology track of the program under the mentorship of Dr. Douglas Joseph and Natalie Evans. And really, I worked with peripheral arterial disease, which is mainly focuses on the lower extremities and vein blockages. So I was looking at some of the different risk factors, such as high cholesterol and obesity, and how they can contribute to that. And then also working with the physicians to find ways to prevent or kind of essentially slow down the progression of the disease while working to prevent it from progressing any further.
That's very impressive. I watch your faces as the students are describing their research. And I know I have 2 daughters, and all they worry about in the summer is where they're going to the pool and what beach is nearby. That's it. So, and these 2 are so impressed, we're so impressed with you that they actually spend a summer and then use what we have taught them at Twinsburg High School and that their families kind of impart on them to bring that home for someone who really is in need of additional help medically at the clinic. So super impressed. Thank you for coming tonight. And also if we can give you our little trinket for our Tiger Strong students. Oh, did you give it to them? Oh, great. Thank you. And tell us, Caitlin, who'd you bring?
My mom.
Mom's here. There she is, waving back. Hi, Mom.
My mom over there in the corner.
Thank you for sharing these 2 with us, making Twinsburg look really good. So thank you. Now, okay, thanks. I'm going to take it over now, Sharon.
Good evening, everybody. Our Fine Arts department at Twinsburg High School has been very busy with many projects, portfolios, and art shows for the past 8 months. Ms. Kozak, Mr. Lundy, and I have participated in shows to allow our talented students to be showcased here in Twinsburg, the state of Ohio, nationally, and around the world. The students that will be coming up to be recognized for their awards are just a handful of the talent we have here at Twinsburg High School. We could easily fill this room with additional accomplished art students. I am so proud that we are able to recognize these students for their talent, hard work, dedication, and their impressive achievement. It is with great pleasure that we recognize the following students.
Okay. If I can have Brianna come up. Brianna Gerard. Was one of the winners in our Expressions contest. And Sharon, if you could say a little bit about what Expressions and where, downtown and some of the things that we did.
Okay. Why don't we bring up Alex also. Alex Kinsler, come on up. Mm-hmm. No, it's a copy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Out of, I believe it was 1,600 entries into the Expressions program, 2 of our students, Alex and Brianna, were chosen to have their artwork published in the Expressions book, which is seen everywhere, all the way around the world. They have published pieces that everybody will see. And what happens here is our interns who spend 40 hours a week with their experiments or their projects, they come up with the information needed for our students here to take their information and turn it into expressive artwork. So it's a twofold, and it's wonderful because not only do they get to experience firsthand at the facility at the Cleveland Clinic, but my two here were chosen to express their artwork, and I wanted to let Alex talk just a little bit about his work. It was really a privilege to have both of them, their artwork seen up at the Global Center for Innovation. Mm-hmm. So, here, Alex. I just want to
Hi. So I think it was pretty cool to do this project because it was very inspired, and I know it's great to create things that are very original, but sometimes it's nice to take something else and turn it into something that is all your own. It was also fun to do because it's for the Cleveland Clinic, which is known for its innovation in healthcare, and to be able to display your work down there where it's so sleek and modern, and so many people come there to see it. It's kind of cool to be able to maybe inspire other people too. Is that good? Mine was called Infinity. Oh, it was for Emily Carmen, assessing depression in chronic heart patients. I mean, the symbolism is pretty straightforward. It's like water for sadness and a heart for a heart. Yeah. But it's just like eternal sadness, and I know that's kind of depressing, but it's just for the message to get across. Okay.
And Brianna, talk a little bit about your research was based on patients' awareness of heart failure, and yours is called?
The heart. Ms. Cinco told me to think outside of the box and not be so broad about the whole idea. So I just wanted to kind of have it all make sense in a way, with having the chest cavity, which is obviously where the heart's located. And then I just made a heartbeat rhythm made out of the symptoms of heart failure.
Very creative. Thank you. Okay. Brianna, who'd you bring?
I brought my mom and my grandparents.
And Alex, who'd you bring tonight?
Just little old me.
We're here as your extended family. Congratulations. Thank you. And these are our two expressions winners.
And next are our Scholastic Award winners, which 2 weeks ago we had our ceremony at Kent State Stark Branch, where their work was on display for everybody to see for a couple weeks. Some of the art students have their work here, and like I said, we have such talented students here, and I'm so proud of everybody because they work so hard to get these pieces in these shows and to compete against, thousands of other students. It's really something when our talented students get recognized. So.
Abby Garrett, please come on down. Abby Garrett. Sophia Venezia. What'd you bring, Sophia?
Well, I did a reflection drawing for a project I wasn't really planning on entering, but
Miss Masenko told me that I should, so I decided to just go along with it and enter. I brought my mom.
That colored pencil, and the project was reflections. So different students chose different types of objects that reflect.
Javon Johnson.
Well, I did a picture of a duck, so it was coming like my way, so I had to snap a quick picture of it. So yes, a quiet duck. So, but today I brought my mom and my grandma over here.
Riley Rist.
Bring everything. So this is actually a picture of my friend Kayla. It won a gold key, and this one is a friend of mine whose name is Emily, and it's a mixed media piece, and that was also a gold key. And this other one over here is a photo just like in a dark room with a mask over a net, and that was also a gold key. Well, there's 3 ranks you can get in this competition. You can get either gold key, silver key, or honorable mention. And this year I ended up getting 3 gold keys, 6 silver keys, and 5 honorable mentions. In this competition, there's usually about 5,000 different entries per this region, like Northeast Ohio. And they usually only pick about 500 silver and gold keys, so it's a pretty big deal. And then most of my stuff was photography, so then on top of that, being in the most competitive field, it's a pretty big deal.
This year?
Oh yeah, last year I didn't get to come up here again because I was in Scholastics last year, and a few months after I got into the governor's show, where there's about 12,000 entries, and it's for the entire state of Ohio, and they only pick 300 to make the actual show.
And he did. So we're looking forward as a 10th grader. That's right. So now as an 11th grader, we hope to see Riley in the governor's show again.
More bigger deal to be a 10th grader because there's almost no underclassmen.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks, Riley. Who'd you bring tonight?
I brought my mom and her fiance and my grandma.
Nice job, Riley. Congratulations. Here's your lanyard. Taylor Harvey, come on up. Taylor has her picture with her. Congratulations, Taylor. Okay, now tell us a little bit about your picture here.
Well, there's a picture of my dad. I'm kind of known in my family to be a daddy's girl. So it looks pretty serious and dark and desolate. But I actually took this picture while we were eating breakfast. So I guess I just caught him in a good moment, and I decided it would look better in black and white.
So who'd you bring tonight?
I brought my mom and my dad.
Yes. Without his breakfast. Okay. Very nice. Congratulations, Taylor. Maggie McGlumpy. Yeah, we're going to have to. Maggie here? No. Okay. Maggie also received an honorable mention at the Scholastic Art Competition. Okay. Taylor St. Andressy. Okay, now you're going to describe a little bit about your artwork.
Okay. Well, I took an old picture of my sister, and then I played around with like mixed media, and I put paint over it. But then this is like, I scanned it and then blew it up to get it this size.
Wow. What made you put that line through her face?
Well,
Art, you know, and describe what.
Well, she was dressed like in like a sparkly dress, so I took it as like being like kind of more glamorous, and then I named it Side Effects, so it's kind of like the side effects of fame. So I put the streak over her face.
Interesting, creative. Thank you. Very nice. I think Parker Sayevich. Oh, Taylor, you gotta tell us who you brought. Taylor, tell us who you brought tonight.
Oh, I brought my mom and my dad.
And Parker's here. Oh. Do you have it?
I never got one.
Oh,
it's still with the.
Oh, is it still there?
Okay.
You want to describe it a little bit?
It's a picture of tree roots, and it looks cool.
Well, you got Parker. You got an honorable mention for it. So the tree roots stay up here. No. True roots. True roots. Right. Go ahead.
I wanted to say one thing. Parker was kicking and fighting me to enter this in, and I said, Parker, it's a really good piece. Put it in. I'm not an art student. I don't know what I'm doing. So I got him to put it in, and sure enough, he got an honorable mention, and congratulations. Nice job.
Who'd you bring here tonight?
All my parents over there.
Congratulations. Okay. Who's left here? Christina Colise. Chris Colisi. Oh. Well, Miss Colisi. Oh, Silver Key. Wow. Oh, great. You can describe this.
I was with my aunts at Thanksgiving, and we decided to go to the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. And I noticed a panda that was kind of acting a little weird, so I decided to snap a picture of it.
And that one was that the honorable mention or the Silver Key? Silver Key. Nice. Okay, here's another winner there. Christina? That's the honorable mention, and what's that one? Oh, 6. Wow. There they are. Oh, my God. Mr. Colisi, you want here? Bring them up. Go get those. That's amazing. All varied from honorable mention and then the silver. Okay, go ahead. Here. Let me hold that one. Okay. What's this one?
It was a mark left from a leaf that was on the ground. It like brushed away a little bit. This was a lock that was on one of the mailboxes around my house. This one I just kind of found when I was walking around my neighborhood one evening. This one was, I actually did it for class when we were talking about the robotics. And this one was another weird one that I took. I noticed a little crack that was in a bench at the park in my neighborhood, and I kind of liked the design that was in it.
And these were all wow, all honorable mentions. Very nice, Christina. And Christina, who'd you bring?
I got my mom and my dad.
Mr. and Mrs. Colisi. Very good. And here's your certificate, Christina. And I think you get a lanyard there. Okay, and if I could have Abby, I think we missed Abby describing your picture real quick.
This one, I was walking on the sidewalk, outside the school, and there was a leaf with a hole in it, and I just happened to look through, and like you could see the other leaves, and I thought it looked cool the way it focused on it. And then this one, we were doing leading lines, and as we were walking back into the school, the drain pipe, I decided to just like stick the camera between the drain pipe and the school, thinking it was cool.
Very creative. Very nice. Thank you. Wow, these are. And then Sharon. Awesome art students. Thank you so much. And of course, behind the students here, supporting them, are two teachers, Ms. Masenko and Ms. Kozak. Thank you. And Mr. Lundy, right. But let me get, I don't have him here to give him his certificate. Sharon. And Ms. Kozak, thank you for everything you do for our wonderful students and entering them in all these contests. And I know we're looking forward to our spring art fair coming up as well. That's on April 21st, that evening, showcasing our student work, as well as the governor's show. Hopefully we'll have someone qualified. Yep. So thank you for sharing in the celebration with our students tonight.
Where's Kathy going?
Mr. Felber, it's always amazing to start an evening with Wilcox Tigers and to see at the end of the progression here great things all the way along. And we mentioned it in my remarks earlier that our arts programs have had such a fantastic week. Well, here we go again with just these wonderful art students from Twinsburg High School. So we congratulate each and every one of them, and we wish them much success. They have a great future ahead of each and every one of them, I believe. That concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you. Absolutely amazing artwork, and thanks to all the teachers and staff that inspired and pushed a little bit where need be, because we got to see some amazing things tonight. We're at the point of our meeting. We're at committee reports, and I believe we have several. So start with buildings and grounds. Who's going to?
I'll talk.
Matt?
Building and grounds subcommittee met Tuesday, February 16th. A couple things went over. If you recall, we have Lesko and Associates providing some assessments of our properties in the district. They've come back with a preliminary assessment of all the district-owned properties. Currently working with Mr. Welker to kind of narrow down that list and prioritize it and kind of hammer home some hard numbers. They'll also be providing us with some additional assessments and numbers on renovations and possibly some different options available with different buildings. So those will be coming through in the next few months, I would imagine. Also, Mr. Welker briefed us on the upcoming bus purchases, the rotation schedule that we have, and we should be seeing that here in the next few meetings on our agenda. And that's.
And then, just in addition to that, I wanted to commend Mr. Welker on. We do a bus rotation. So every year we do purchase buses. This way we have a fleet that is always functioning as it should. It's something that Mrs. Powers brought to us a couple years ago. The suggestion that we keep the fleet replenished. So every year we purchase 3 to 4 buses. So this way we always have vehicles that are functioning for our students and they're safe. Additionally, we just very briefly touched on a scoreboard where it's in the infancy stages for the stadium, but we are looking at some sponsorships and things like that, but very early in the stages, and looking forward to that project as well.
Okay, curriculum and technology.
Yes, I'll be reporting on behalf of our Curriculum and Technology Subcommittee. We met Monday the 8th. Mrs. Farthing facilitated the meeting, and we adopted 3 texts. One was AP Microeconomics. There was Financial Accounting, Dual Credit course of study, as well as Financial Algebra. There was actually a presentation done for both the financial accounting and the financial algebra to kind of distinguish between the difference between the two. And there are very distinct differences between the two. So those presentations went very well. There was also a presentation given by special ed, as well as the high school on kind of looking at class rank and the impact of College Credit Plus, and kind of looking at some different options so that we really recognize students for high academic achievement, across the board, based on some of the changes that are happening as a result of College Credit Plus. And if there's anything that you want to add.
It was a pretty short, it wasn't as lengthy as it usually is, so there's not too much more to add. But as far as the College Credit Plus agreements, it is showing that we have 6 local colleges and 3 community colleges in Hiram, Kent State, and University of Akron for the 2016-17 year.
Anything further from curriculum technology? All right, Mr. Slurren and myself held a finance committee meeting on the 12th, and as many of you know, one of the district goals, number 1 goal is finance and maintaining the health of the district. Spent a lot of time looking at an overall flow chart of our future, and as you've heard from us ad nauseum, TPP is going away, and that's not a battle we think we're going to win in terms of the state and that reimbursement. So we're trying to look at long future, and I'm going to recommend to my colleagues on the board that we conduct a work session in the near future to discuss finances so we can go in a little bit more depth and spend time with that subject, because it's going to be pretty hefty. So anything else from my colleagues? All right, we're at remonstrance. Mr. Aho, do you have any blue cards?
No cards.
All right. We're going to go into Section G, Treasurer's Report. And Mr. Aho, I believe you have a report for us.
Yeah, just a short report. Our audit was released. This is the audit from last fiscal year. Our financial statements get put into a comprehensive annual financial report. This is what it looks like. It gets audited by the state auditor's office. This is a whole year's worth of work goes into one little book here, which is always interesting to me. Excuse me. I had a cold that everybody else had, so again, we received an unqualified opinion, which is the best opinion that you can get. So they didn't find anything, to change that opinion. They had a few comments, things that we could do better. They are always looking for things and making suggestions on improvements. So we have those suggestions that we're working on. And they made a couple comments on our federal programs. And there also, too, they want us to tighten up on some of the things that we do and just do them a little bit better. But overall, it's a clean audit report. The general opinion is unqualified or unmodified, which is a good thing. The audit report can be, if you want to see a copy of it, you can get it on a PDF form. It's on the Auditor of State's website. You can get there from the Treasurer's page. So you go on our district website, click on Departments, go to the Treasurer's page, and it says Audit Report. And it brings up the Auditor of State's website, and all you have to do is type in Twinsburg on that line that is there. And then you'll see the audit reports. And actually, it has like several years worth of audit reports there. It is the in this format. It's a PDF version of this regular report here. And then there's several other years there also. But that's our audit report. It's been released. It's all done. So we'll have another one in another year, so it just keeps going.
Thank you, Mr. Aho. I know it looks small and it's, down to a little spiral binder, but the school finance and what Mr. Aho and his department does is not to be understated. You just look at one spreadsheet and you get lost. But we've got a good staff doing good things, and it's nice to know that we get another good unqualified report, which basically is another feather in the district's cap for maintaining good finances. And always room for improvement, and I'm sure they're looking real hard to find something. But Twinsburg, they're going to have to keep looking harder. So, anything further? Any of my colleagues? All right, we're at G, the recommendations, action items. Without objection from my colleagues, I'm going to read G1, 2, and 3 together. G1, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the following meeting minutes, the regular February 3rd, 2016, as sent to the board under separate cover. G2, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the following financial report for the month of December 2015. Bank Reconciliation, General Fund Financial Summary Report, and a financial report by fund. G3, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accept a check register for the month of December 2015. The total including payroll is $4,234,654.96. Is there a motion for those three as read?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Curtis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Solera. Any questions, discussion?
Just piggyback on what you already said, with respect to the audit and what's happening in the treasurer's office is, just an acknowledgement of what we already know. It's good financial practices and good controls, and I expect nothing but good audits. So much appreciation for your audit and for your office, Mr. Aho.
And what was new to me as we entered into this office to realize that we have a fairly small but powerful staff. A lot of districts have a lot more overhead in the Treasurer's Department, and they do so a yeoman's job with the staff that they have, and that's much appreciated as well. Any further comments? Roll call.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Turl Waldron?
Yes.
Mr. Felber?
Yes. And those items pass 5-0. We are now at H, action items, and again, without objection from my colleagues, I'm going to read 1 through 3. H1, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the certificated licensed personnel and/or contract recommendations detailed in the attached exhibit as per the dates, terms, and other applicable conditions specified pending satisfactory ORC background checks. H2, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the classified personnel and/or contract recommendations detailed in the attached exhibit H2 as per the dates, terms, and other applicable conditions specified pending satisfactory ORC background checks. H3, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the supplemental contract recommendations detailed in the attached exhibit H3 as per the dates, terms, and other applicable conditions specified pending satisfactory ORC background checks. Is there a motion for those three as read?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Torl Waldron. Any questions? Comments from anything? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Turl Waldron?
Yes.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mr. Felber?
Yes. Those items pass 5-0. Section I, again, without my objection from my colleagues, I'm going to read all 7. Let's see. I-1, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the below items to be deleted from inventory, and the list is in the agenda. I-2, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves Belinda McKinney as a credentialed evaluator for the purpose of the Ohio Principal Evaluation System. I-3, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the adoption of the AP Microeconomics course of study at Twinsburg High School. The adoption was approved by the District Curriculum and Technology Committee on February 8th and sent to the board under separate cover. 4, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approve the adoption of the Financial Accounting Dual Credit Course of Study at Twinsburg High School. The adoption was approved by the District Curriculum and Technology Committee, again on February 8th. 5, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approve the adoption of the Financial Algebra Course of Study at Twinsburg High School, again at the same Curriculum and Technology Committee. That was sent to the board under separate cover. I-6, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the following College Credit Plus agreements for the 2016-2017 school year as sent to the board under separate cover. And this is Cuyahoga Community College, Hiram College, Kent State University, Lakeland Community College, Lorraine Community College, and the University of Akron. And finally, I-7, the Safe Routes to School grant application. Whereas the United States Congress has set aside monies for Safe Routes to School projects through the State of Ohio Department of Transportation, and whereas applicants can apply for these monies and be selected for the funding by the State of Ohio Department of Transportation, and whereas the school travel plan as and actively eligible to receive federal transportation funding, and now therefore be it ordained that the Twinsburg Board of Education that Section 1 in the partnership with the Twinsburg, Reminderville, and Twinsburg Township, the superintendent and her designee, is hereby empowered on behalf of the applicant to prepare and execute an application for the SRTS school travel plan development for the stated described project and to be submitted to the same to the State of Ohio Department of Transportation. Section 2, if awarded the project, no funding will be reimbursed to the applicants for the school travel plan development. Applicants will be asked to provide information, develop a team, and work with ODOT on plan development. The applicant further agrees to pay 100% of the cost over and above the work provided by the State of Ohio Department of Transportation. The Twinsburg Board of Education will require the superintendent and her designee to get prior authorization for any board funds not currently approved for this project. Section 3, upon completion of the described project, the applicant shall provide completed school travel plan with adequate community endorsements. And finally, Section 4, if the applicant is approved for the school travel plan development and the superintendent and her designee of said applicant is hereby empowered on behalf of the Twinsburg Board of Education to enter into a contract with the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation necessary to complete the above project. You have a motion for those 7 as read.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Slur. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Curtis. Any discussion, any questions on this? Sounds like curriculum technology has been busy with some good courses. And I know Mr. Welker, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut somebody off. Mr. Welker, I don't know if you have anything else further to add. I know you gave us a nice update on this program for Safe Routes to Schools at our last meeting.
I'm just excited about the partnership and excited about embarking on that potential project.
As many, and then I'm sorry, Mrs. Burwald.
No, kind of just wanted to hear about that. And then, if you can refresh my memory, did we do this for Mrs. McKinney last year as well? Is this the same thing we did last year, or is this new this year for having her the Ohio Principal Evaluation?
Sure. Great question, Mrs. Turl Waldron. Annually, the Board of Education has to approve the administrators who hold the credentials to be evaluators through the Ohio Teacher Evaluation System and also the Principal Evaluation System. I am the credentialed evaluator for the district's principals, and then the principals evaluate their assistant principals. So each of the principals who have assistants also hold the same credential. I asked Mrs. McKinney to obtain the credential in the event that I'm not able to fulfill that obligation. There is somebody that the Board of Education can then direct to take over for me should that ever happen. We have to always have a plan B. And so Mrs. McKinney now has obtained that credential that in the event that somebody needs to pinch in for the superintendent, it would be Mrs. McKinney.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's Plan B is Plan Belinda? All right, any further questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Turl Waldron?
Yes.
Mr. Felber?
Yes. And those items pass 5-0. Next two on our agenda. What are we in? Section G still? I. 8, resolve that the Twinsburg Board of Education adopt and purchase financial and managerial accounting information for decisions, 6th edition textbook. I'm not going to read all those numbers for the financial accounting dual credit course offered at Twinsburg High School. The adoption was approved by the District Curriculum and Technology Committee meeting on February 8th. This is a permanent improvement expense. Item 9, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education adopt the purchase Economics 9th edition textbook for the AP Microeconomics course offered by Twinsburg High School, again at the Curriculum and Technology Committee meeting. This is a permanent improvement expenditure. Is there a motion for these two as read?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Waldron. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Any further comments on either of these? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Turl Waldron,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Solera,
Yes.
Mr. Curtis,
Yes.
Mr. Felber.
Yes, and those items pass 5-0. We're at miscellaneous. Anything from my colleagues?
I just have a couple things. First, I wanted to give a shout out to the Twinsburg Athletic Boosters. They did the wrestling tournament up at the high school for the junior high a few weeks ago. What a great event for our students and also for a lot of the schools around the state of Ohio. It is a very recognized competition, and the Booster Club really represented our school district well. So thank you so much for the boosters doing that. Also, I believe I have the correct date. On March 30th, the Rotary is doing Teacher of the Year. And that's a nice event if anybody's available to come see. But every year they recognize one of the Twinsburg City School District teachers. And then I kind of touched on it with Mrs. Powers, and obviously this is something you can look into. I just had a couple questions about continuing Latin for some of our students that are have had 2 years of Latin and making sure they're able to get that third year for their honors diploma. So something I'd like us to look into as a board at some point.
Any further
That's all
from
I have.
any of our other colleagues? Miscellaneous? Mrs. Powers?
Mr. Felber, just a reminder, before the board leaves tonight, we have to schedule that work session.
Absolutely. Did I hear something else, Mr. Curtis? Did you have something?
Now, yeah, I'm drawing a blank. We had Congressman, I can't remember his name. Joyce,
Yeah.
yes. Congressman Joyce, we had the privilege of hosting him at the Cuyahoga Valley Career Center to come and visit our Ram Tech Center. I guess word is getting around of what's going on there, so I, along with Dr. Roebuck and a couple of other administrators, basically took them around and toured the facility, had our safety goggles on, and watching the students do some things hands-on with the new equipment, explaining how things function. Met with some instructors as well to kind of give an overview of what's happening and the impact of not only just having some experience, for students, but also potential economic impact after school. So he seemed very impressed, and he looked forward to continuing to work with the center in whatever capacity that he could at the federal level to make sure that the facility and the program continues to thrive. So I thought that was worth mentioning.
Absolutely. Anybody else have anything further? All right. I'll make the motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Turl Waldron. Roll call, please.
Mr. Felber,
Yes.
Mrs. Turl Waldron,
Yes.
Mr. Solera,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Curtis.
Yes.
All right. By a vote of 5-0, we are adjourned. Have a good evening.